Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. So this will be a quick gadget episode just about the state of VR devices that are currently available in the market. Welcome to ask any questions during the show or after the show went available, either here at Calling or at any other podcast platforms. So just I guess I'll start from my own personal experience. So, being using this new Oculus Quest 2 that I bought about a month ago, definitely very enjoyable and affordable VR device. So this thing was released slightly more than a year ago by Facebook. Their goal is to basically make the VR version of the Nintendo Switch that's both cheap but also capable of handling most of the games and apps on the market. So what's inside this Oculus Quest 2 is a XR2 chip developed by Qualcomm. So this is Qualcomm's grand plan to basically establish their business in the AR VR market, just like they did in the mobile chip market. So Oculus Quest 2, overall, this is a great device because you are not required to connect your VR goggle to anything using a cable, so you can just have it as a standalone VR device. It's pretty lightweight, and you have two handheld controllers that can track your hand positions using a 6-degree freedom trackers, so it can see how your hand either rotate in all three directions or like translate, so like move in the space. I guess besides all the good things like its price and pretty good app store offerings right now, downsides of Oculus Quest 2, I think the biggest one that people are concerned about is just now it requires you to have a Facebook account and also connect your Facebook account to your device. I think a few years ago, when Oculus was either independent or semi-independent from the Facebook, when they were not so integrated in the Facebook ecosystem, you can just register standalone account to explore the VR world offered by Oculus. But now everything is tied within the Facebook universe, so there could be a lot of potential privacy concerns from the customers. So it'd be interesting to just keep watching the market to see how Facebook may address such issues. So it looks like Oculus Quest 2, they are the best-selling VR device in the past 2 years, I would say, and they seem to be on track to surpass PlayStation VR pretty soon. And that gives us a chance to talk about the next device, which is PlayStation VR. So I think at this point, this could still be the most popular VR device offered on the market, although it's pretty old by today's standards. So just go through a list of the basic specs here. So it was released in 2016. And basically, shortly after when PlayStation 4 was released, it uses 1080p displays for both your eyes with an OLED display, offers a 100-degree field of view. So speaking of those, I think two important specs you want to definitely check when you purchase a new VR device. The first one is the refresh rate. So that should be pretty familiar to people who even just loosely follow the tech news. So screen refresh rate basically just means how many times the frame in front of you change within a second. So a pretty standard, mobile screen. It used to be, 60 hertz just like 1 year ago, but now seems like, with the release of new iPhone Pros and all the high-end Android phones, the new standard is maybe 90 or 120 hertz, and pretty much all the newest VR devices, they offer at least a 90 hertz refresh rate, except the Oculus Quest 2 I just mentioned, that was only 72 hertz. But as you can see, they usually just give you above 60 hertz because when you have the screen closer to your eyes compared to just holding a cell phone tablet in your hand, you need a high refresh rate to give you a more immersive environment. So the first spec is refresh rate, definitely the higher the better. And the second one is field of view. So that's basically saying like, how wide is the like the cone in front of your eyes that you can see. So I believe Oculus Quest 2, because it's just the most affordable option on the market. So to save the cost, they just usually have the lowest spec. So that's like 90 degrees. It's I don't think it's a big problem because when I test this device and saw some videos on YouTube as well, like it definitely gives you a good enough view that you can feel like you are in a pretty immersive VR environment. But definitely, if you just go more expensive, then you will have usually just wider field of view. So it could be like 100 degrees as in the PlayStation VR case, or maybe up to like 120 degrees, I think, in some of the more expensive devices that we'll talk about later. So back to the PlayStation VR. So as I just mentioned, it's pretty outdated at this point. It's almost 5 years old. Good news is PlayStation or Sony, they just released the news earlier this year. I believe it's February 2021. Mentioned that they are currently developing a second generation of the PlayStation VR devices, and it should be out soon, not as soon as this year, but hopefully in 2022 at some point. So this will be a good companion with the PlayStation 5. Biggest limitation about PlayStation VR, I guess, it just be, at least right now, it only works with PlayStation consoles. There are some rumors saying that they might be compatible with PCs in the future, but usually, in this like gadget world, you just shouldn't assume a rumor will be true eventually. So that would just be the limitation that you should consider when you purchase this device. And after we cover the two most affordable options on the market, we can also just take a brief look at some of the more expensive options. So if you just want something that's like one step above the Oculus Quest 2, you should look at this device called Vive Focus 3. So Vive is the brand, by HTC. And I believe if you follow, VR close enough, you know that HTC, they are still like one of the most like dominant players in the high-end VR devices world. So Vive Focus 3, inside it uses the same chip, so it's the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2, same as Oculus Quest 2, but as slightly higher end hardware specifications compared to Quest 2. So a little bit larger RAM, like 8 gigabytes versus 6 in Quest 2, and they also have a SD card storage, so you can store extra stuff. And another bigger advantage is the resolution just a little bit higher, so you have almost a 5K resolution. I guess there's not really any downside for this device, except that it's just a lot more expensive than the Facebook Quest 2 or Oculus Quest 2. It's $1,300 versus $300. And some other devices we can look at are, for example, the HP Reverb G2. So I believe this is probably the most popular device for people who just want a headset to connect to their PC and using both the Windows mixed reality environment and the Steam VR at the same time. So this I think priced around $500 or $600 because it's on sale now, and the resolution is also above 4K, so definitely higher than the cheapest Quest 2. Only downside is this thing requires connected to a PC, different from the Oculus and the Vive Focus 3. And you also have the Vive Pro 2, so this is pretty much a different version, slightly updated version of the original HTC Vive. So also $1,300. Yep, so these are the current VR devices available on the market. Definitely love to do some future episodes to dig deeper into the VR world, and would definitely love your feedback, whether it's live now or after the show in the comment section. On what topics I should cover next in the future VR episodes. But now I guess I'll just take some questions.
Oh, hey, Roger. Thanks for that quick overview. So I'm Heyman in Toronto. I'm just curious, what do you recommend for a sort of like a more multi-platform, low-cost device right now at this stage? Because I know that Quest 2, you could actually sideload things, right? But what's the best one in your mind? Like, what do you recommend for people who just want to get into VR initially?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, I think besides just the tag price of these devices, I should also add additional cost. So, for PSVR, you also have the $400-$500 cost of a console, and for some of the things that require PC connection, you probably need at least $1,000 for gaming level PC. But I think Quest 2 is probably the best thing if you want to just try VR across all different platforms, because first of all, Quest 2 is basically a goggle with an Android phone inside. So the Oculus Store it should have the widest mobile app offering, because pretty much anything developed for Android can be pretty easily ported onto the Oculus Store easily. And secondly, you can definitely sideload once you enable the development mode on the Oculus Quest. So pretty much, because I'm also a game developer myself, so I know that if you just build something like in Unity, it should be not too hard just to like sideload your own app onto the Quest 2. And lastly, although it's a standalone device, it also has the function of just streaming whatever is on your gaming PC to your Oculus Quest 2. So you can always just open your Steam or other game platforms on your computer and start, play the game on your PC, but actually stream it to your Oculus Quest 2. So yeah, I would say Quest 2 is probably the not only the cheapest, but also probably the just most versatile device you can get.
Great, thanks. And what do you see?
Yep.
What do you see with the new HTC? There's a standalone coming up, right, for HTC Vive?
HTC.
Don't they have a standalone
Yeah,
coming up soon? Or
yeah. Good question. I think the Focus 3 I just mentioned, I think it should be a standalone one because it basically uses the same processor as a Quest 2. Um, But I think for HTC products, they are usually just way more expensive because they are more focusing on the high end market, and they probably have a smaller volume of sales. Just because no one can really compares to Facebook in terms of targeted customer base.
Cool, thanks. And probably it's subsidized heavily too. The Quest, Facebook is probably
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I'm just looking at the, hardware that Oculus using. I feel like they are using the same strategy as, those game consoles. They're just selling you the hardware, maybe even at a loss, but they're trying to, make their money back by through the platform or the ads in the future. But with like the new, dynamics in the like anti-tracking movement, I feel like Facebook definitely needs some time to figure out how to, like profit within the VR world. Yeah.
And if you don't mind, one more question. I noticed that sometimes you do those shows on Chinese games, right? I noticed that some of the Chinese market has different sort of virtual reality goggles. Like, can they be purchased here, or can they even be used with North American products?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, I haven't dig too deep into that because, for hardwares, I think, yeah, no, like Baidu, they have a branch. It's called like iQIYI. It's their video business, kind of like the like Chinese version of Netflix. So they've been working on a bunch of VR devices, and there's also a relatively new company called Pico. They've been doing some really medium high-end devices, and they were recently acquired by ByteDance. I think it may be one of the largest, acquisition this year. So I'm not sure if they're like officially available for purchase in the United States, but yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think I can definitely do a follow-up episode on VR, just like, also how it looks like in China and more, wider maybe in the international market. Yeah, thank you for the
Yeah, look forward
question.
to that. Thanks a lot again, Roger.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Yeah, I think I will just end this episode soon. So if you have any more suggestions or comments, feel free to comment on this episode later, or you can DM me inside the calling app or through my Twitter. That's all. Yeah, thank you for your time. Hope you guys all have a good night.